I just thank God for His loving kindness, for God's tender mercy. I thank God because He saved me, and He has done so many wonderful things in my life, and I just give Him the praise because I could have been killed. She could have been killed if I'd been going fast, but I wasn't, and I just praise the Lord. I guess I don't know what I was praying or just thinking about what I was going to talk about this morning, and just wasn't paying attention to the light. I knew when I started, the light was green, and I don't know. But anyway, I'm just grateful to God that He, nobody got upset. I didn't get cussed out. And I'm thankful. She hugged me. She asked me if she could hug me, and I said yes. And we left very on friendly terms. So I'm grateful to God, and I just ask. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Now I don't know the reason, but God knows. And if for no other purpose, He slows me down. Although this morning I wasn't going like I used to go. But I thought I had a lot of time, and I wasn't going fast or anything. So that's a blessing. So you just pray for me that God will word my mouth, and that somebody will be blessed with this word. Obviously, Satan probably doesn't want somebody to hear this word, but he's a liar. Satan is a liar. And he comes to steal and to kill and to destroy us. But God has the upper hand. God comes that we might have life and that we might have it more abundantly. And so I'm so grateful to God today because He saved me and sanctified me. He filled me with the Holy Ghost when I was a child. And I grew up loving God. And I just always wanted to live a life that God would not be disappointed in me. And so I'm here today because of God. This is where God put me. I'm going to talk about God's promise. And sometimes we make promises, and we mean what we say when we make them. But sometimes we break them. But God never breaks His promise. He promised to keep us. He promised. He said to us, He said to the disciples when He was sending them out, He had risen from the dead, and He was sending them out as apostles, and He said, "Lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the world." That's in Matthew 28 and 20. And God is with us. When I was pregnant with my last baby, and I was in the delivery room to deliver her, they put me to sleep. I never went through a birth where I was awake. I was always put to sleep. And while I was asleep, as I was going under the anesthesia, I remember, and I'll never forget it, the Lord speaking to me and said, and I'll say it in the voice that I heard, "Lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the world." And that's the way it sounded. Even to the end of the world. And He just kept repeating that to me. All the time that I was under. I didn't know how close I was coming to death. Because the doctors said, I had two doctors, my primary doctor and the baby doctor, can't think of what he is. But anyway, they were trying to stop me from hemorrhaging. I was hemorrhaging so badly. And they were trying to decide whether to operate or to whatever. I don't know, whatever other than operate was a decision. But anyway, they couldn't decide what to do. And so the doctor woke me up, and he said to me, "Where did your mother work?" And I told him where she worked. And he said, "I have to call her." And he told me, and he was so nervous, he said, "You're hemorrhaging so bad, we don't know whether we're going to be able to save you." And of course, that would have, yeah, that was a terrible thing for a doctor to say. But he was so nervous about it, you know. And, but see, I had a relationship with God, and it's good to have a relationship with God. We've been talking about prayer for the last, 2 months, and we've been talking about a relationship, not just prayer, but a relationship with that prayer with God. And so, you know, I always feel I had a problem from you facing. I'm encouraging every one of us to seek more and more of God. There's a reason that we're having this time of or lessons about prayer, because we need to draw closer and closer to God. Do you not know that the Bible is being fulfilled every day, that we're living in the last days? We don't know when, we don't know where, but we are living in the last. There's never a time in a church and yet and if you look at the Lord is letting us know we need to pray, I mean to pray. I don't mean to say a few words. I mean to pray and pray sincerely and have a relationship with God. That when you call upon Him, you feel for sure that He's going to answer your call. And that's the way I feel. I feel when I say to God, "God, you got this." If I come to a problem, a situation, and I just feel like it's bigger than me, I can't handle it, I'll say to the Lord, "Lord, you got this." And I mean what I say. And God knows I mean what I say. And God works it out. And I try to wait on the Lord to allow Him all the time He needs to work it out. And however He works it out, it's all right with me, because I can't. You know, when you come to the end of yourself and you know that you don't have the answer to your problems or your situation, or if it's something that you're facing that's dangerous, you don't have the answer. You feel inadequate. God has the answers. God has the abilities. God has the power. And there's no failure in God. There's failure in us. I mean, today, I would not have hit that woman's car. But there's failure in me. I'm human, but there's failure in me. But there's no failure in God. We're serving a God that's a great God. He made the world, the universe, and everything in it. And so He's able to do even above what we could even ask of Him, what we could even think of Him. He's just that big. He's bigger than this world. And one time when my Michelle, my daughter, was here not too long ago, when she was a baby, maybe about a couple years old, maybe 2-3 years old, and she was always afraid to go to bed. The other kids, I could put them to bed and not worry. But she was always crying. She didn't want to go to bed because I don't know if she was scared or what. But one night I said to her, I said, "Michelle, now we always said our prayers, you know, I always prayed with them and let them say the Lord's Prayer." But I talked to her, I said, "Michelle," I said, "Do you know God He is so good, and he's just like your father. I said, he's up there in the sky, and he's looking down on you, and he knows that you're okay, and he's not going to let anything happen to you. I said, so you just have to look up and say, thank you, God. And she said, okay. And when I was starting down the steps, and she said, hey, God, I see you peeping. And, you know, and that did something to me, because with her imagination, she could see the image of God in her mind, that he was there to protect her. He was looking down. And that's why the Bible says, God said in his word, except we become as little children, we cannot enter into the kingdom, because little children, they have all kinds of faith. They believe if you tell them as a parent that you're going to do something, they believe it. If a father stands at the bottom of the steps and he tells his child, jump, and I'm ready to catch you, they have no better sense than to jump, because they feel like he's going to catch them. And they don't say, oh, well, I'm scared. Are you going to let me fall? They don't say that. We would say that, but they wouldn't say that, because they know that their parent, their father especially, is going to catch them. And we have to be that way with God. No matter what comes in our life, no matter what we are facing, and sometimes the situation is really, really bad. Sometimes we're being mistreated. Sometimes we have problems that it just look like it's impossible for a human being to fathom, to figure it out. But God, let God. And all we have to do is tell the Lord, Lord, you got this. Lord, you got this. But that means that you have a relationship with God. Not that you can just say any old thing to him, but that you have a relationship with God. That's important. And that's what our prayer, the discussions that we've been having about prayer, that we have a relationship with God. We know without a doubt that God will do whatever he tells us that he's going to do. And he doesn't play. God doesn't play with us. Whatever he says in his word, it has to come to pass. If he says it in his word, it has to come to pass. So we don't have to even figure out or wonder if he's going to do it. Wonder if, you know. And so he expects us to be fair and honest with him. And if we make a mistake, he expects us to say, Lord, I'm sorry. I repent. I made a mistake. And there's no harm in saying that. Matter of fact, that's what we ought to say. Lord, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And God will forgive us for all of our sins. That's why Jesus came into the world, to die on the cross. God gave his all. He gave the most important thing that he had, and that was his son. How much he must have loved us and cared for us. Each one of us. Even the person that was drunk and in the gutter all night long. Do you know that person is just as important to God as we are sitting here in this church? God loves everyone. And he doesn't talk to me about you. He doesn't talk to you about me. We shouldn't talk about each other. Amen. I don't care what happens. We should pray for one another. If we see one another in a fault or make an error, we shouldn't talk about that person. We should come and make a mistake knowing that they're making mistakes, if they're honest in their hearts. Some people, they don't care. But there are most people that really mean well. Don't just go out there and make all kinds of mistakes, hold up banks or kill somebody or fight or whatever, argue for no reason at all. But people need help. Our friends, our family members, they need help, and they need us to intercede for them and to go to God about them. And had a heart attack because I've never had an accident where I was involved. I've had 2 accidents where somebody hit me from the back. I'm standing still with my car, and somebody comes up and hit me, and that was a long time ago. And for me today to hit somebody else's car, I just felt like just hooping and hollering. I felt like, crying. I'm a woman, but I felt like a baby. I felt like crying today because I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to injure nobody's property. I don't want to hurt nobody. And I didn't think about maybe I was hurt or whatever, but I wasn't. Thank the Lord. I just thank God for His mercy. I thank God for His grace. Had it not been for God's grace and mercy, no telling what would have happened. Especially, like I say, I'm heavy on the foot. On the gas. And I don't mind telling that. I'm trying my best to slow down. I don't want to slow me down. Well, He did today. He slowed me down today, and He will slow me down some more. Because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to cause nobody any problems, and God is just merciful, and I'm so grateful to God. But God is with us all the time. He promised. And I venture to say that He's with the sinner, the one that, maybe even the people that cause other people to lose their life. I believe that He talks to them and tries to reason with them to let them know that they're on the wrong path. I believe that with all my heart. I believe that God, would do most anything to help somebody try to, be a better person, to have a better life. God wants us to have a good life, an abundant life. And so He says, I am with you always. And there are times I'm sure that each one of you might have a story that you could tell where God rescued you. No matter what was the problem or the situation that you were facing, God rescued you. That is important because we can't always see ahead, but God knows what's going to happen. Even tomorrow or the next day, God knows what's going to happen. We don't know. We might leave this room today and never come back. God knows that. We don't know that. And so it behooves us every day to live like it's our last day on earth. To live every moment of our life like it's our last moment. And so we need to maybe tell someone, I'm sorry. And if you have anything in your heart that's against somebody, you need to go to that person and tell them, I'm sorry. I have something in my heart against you, and I don't want to have it in there. I don't want to have nothing in my heart against anyone. And you need to repent. We need to repent. I repent every day when I pray. I don't care how often I pray. I tell the Lord, Lord, forgive me if there's anything I said, done, thought, or might have said. I want you to forgive me because I want to live like God wants me to live. I want to live according to His word. I want to be right with God. You might think I'm ever so good. Well, it doesn't matter to me what you think. I mean, I would like to hear you say I'm a nice person, but it really doesn't make me go to heaven or go to hell. But it does when what God thinks. It matters. And I'm sure that each one of us would say that. Each one of you would say that you would rather please God than anything else on earth. So if you have anything in your heart, don't go to bed with something in your heart against somebody. Ask God to remove it. Ask Him to give you the grace to remove it. I remember, and I'm sorry I'm going this way. I don't know why I'm going this way. I remember I had a girl graduated the same year from nursing school in the same class. She was June, I was September class, but we graduated together. And she happened to come back to work. I think she had been off for a while with maybe her children or whatever. And she came back to work. And I don't know why she took a dislike to me. She pretended she liked me, but she took a dislike to me. And behind my back, she would write notes to the director of nurses, nursing department, director of nursing department, and tell them what she thought about me, whatever she thought about me. And of course, they didn't take any action or anything because they knew me. Well, they knew that I tried to be the best nurse I could. I tried to treat people the way I want to be treated, and I would go out of my way to make sure that the patient that I have is okay before I leave them. I would never go home and they're still needing help. I mean, I would stay I don't know how long afterwards, especially if they were having a situation with the bowels or maybe the bladder or whatever. And I would never just leave them in that situation. I would try my best to, render help to them as much as I possibly can, and then see that somebody else has come along and took over where I left off. That's the way I am. But this girl, she, for some reason, she was one way in my face and she was another way behind my back. And so she tried her best. She had gotten a lot of the younger girls that had came and gotten a job there at St. Francis. She got them, they quit or they got fired, one or the other. And she was determined that she was going to get me fired or that she was going to make me quit. And I don't, like I said, I don't know why. I had nothing against her in my heart until I read a note that she had sent to the director of nurses and told him about me, and that she thought I was the worst person in the world. And I don't know what all she wrote. Now it's like fuzzy in my mind. But anyway, the unit secretary, she was so furious about it. She came down and brought me the note before she took it over there, and she said, "I'll tear it up. I should tear it up." And I said, "No. Your responsibility is to take it over there, and you should never have read it." I said, "But I thank you. I thank you that you did read it, because I have a chance now to know what to pray for." And so I prayed to God about it. And she just made, for about 2-3 years, she just made my life so miserable. I really hated to go to work, and I've never been like that before. I love nursing. I'd like to go back if I could, but I can't. But anyway, I told my mom about it. I said, "Mom, what should I do?" And my mother said, "Pray." And that's all she said, just pray. And so I began to pray. I said, "Lord," my mother said, "Pray that God will bless her." I said, "Ma, I can't pray for God to bless her because I can't stand a woman." And I was being honest. And I said to the Lord, I said, "Lord, now Mama told me to pray for her, but I really can't." And this is the way I talk to the Lord. This is the way I always talk to the Lord, like He's right there, and I can see Him with my eyes. And I said to the Lord, "Lord, I can't stand her. I can't stand what she's doing. She's a liar, and she's a cheat, and I don't know what kind of person she is, but I just wish that I could be rid of her. But I don't want to quit working, quit nursing. I can't, because that was my livelihood." And I said, "But Mom said for me to tell you to bless her." And that's what I said. And I was being honest. I was trying my best to be honest. So I said, I'm asking you because my mom said to tell you. I'm asking you to bless her. I don't mean it with my heart." I'm being honest. I'm a young woman, but I'm being honest. I just told him, I said, "I don't mean it from my heart. I hope one day I will. But I want you to bless her." And I prayed that prayer until the Lord did touch my heart. And I could actually talk to her sensibly without getting angry, without getting upset, and have a relationship with her. And before I left St. Francis, her son was electrocuted. He was the electrician for Duquesne Light, and he was up on on one of those poles of things, fixing something, and he got electrocuted. He was married, he had about 6 kids, I think, something like that, 5 or 6 kids, somebody told me, and he was electrocuted, and she was distraught, very distraught, and she came to me and she said, "Liz, will you pray for me?" Well, you know, that made me so humble. That made me so humble because she really had tried to get me fired or quit. And for her to come and tell me her story and ask me to pray for her. And then she wanted me to go to the funeral home and to view his body with her. And I did. And that humbled me. That let me know that I'm not so good. Matter of fact, only God is good. Amen. And it's only God in us that we are good. That we do the things that God would have us to do. That we live the life that God would have us to live. It's only God living it through us. Because we of ourselves are flesh. And flesh don't want to do a whole lot of things that God wants us to do. This whole flesh don't want to do it. Well, maybe your flesh does, but mine don't. And so I have to keep myself in line with what God would have me to do. And I tell the Lord all the time, and I don't know if this is helping somebody or not, but I tell the Lord all the time, I say, Lord, I want your goodness. I don't want, it doesn't matter that people think I'm good. I want your goodness. I want to be what you want me to be. I want to behave like you want me to behave. I want to live a life that will draw somebody else to you. I want someone to be drawn to you because they saw something in me that they would like to imitate. And you know, I'm sorry that I'm not perfect. I mean, there was a time when I thought I was. But the Lord let me know I wasn't. And that was the time that I told somebody, they called me a black N. And I told them, your mother. And I mean, I had never even thought of that, let alone said it in my life. That's the first and last time that I will ever say that. And I was praying about it. I mean, I pulled over my car and I started praying about it. And I was asking God to forgive me for saying that because that wasn't right. That was terrible. And the Lord said to me later, and even, I mean, it hasn't been that long ago that the Lord said to me, He said, when you said that, you could see for yourself that even though you thought that you were so good, that was your weakest moment. When you think that you are so good that nothing will bother you, that you're so close to God, be careful. You might be at your weakest moment. And you might do something that you would never think of doing. And it surprises you. Because I was so surprised that I seen something like that. I told my children they couldn't even say things like that. And so, I don't know if this is helping somebody or not, but this is the way God has taken me for some reason. And so we have to be careful of what we say. We have to be careful for how we walk. We have to be careful where we go, because somebody is watching you. Somebody is watching you, and somebody believes in you, and all they need to do is see you say something that you shouldn't have said, hear you say something, or see you do something that you shouldn't have done, and then all of their faith in you is gone, and they may never come to God because they were disappointed in you because you were such a Christian. You're supposed to be a child of God, and yet you did something that they felt you shouldn't have done. So let us be careful how we walk. Let us be careful what we say. Let us be careful how we treat one another. Let us be careful for where we go. A lot of times where we go says a whole lot too. places that we go might not be the right place that you would see someone who says that they're close to God, that they're a child of God. So where we go, it matters. What we say, it matters. What we do, it matters. And even what we think, because sometimes what we think, we might not want to think it, but when you get angry and lose control, we might say something that we thought, or we might do something that was in our minds that we thought we would never ordinarily do it, or we ordinarily wouldn't say it, but we have to be careful. And so we have to be watchful. The scripture says, watch as well as pray. And we have to be on our guard, so that we don't do or say something that will injure somebody for life. We're responsible for each other. We're responsible for our children. We're responsible for the people that we come in contact with. We're responsible for them. If they see us do something and they turn against the church, then we're responsible for that soul. That soul might be lost for good. When I was a child, there was a lady in our community, and she's Sister B. Brown, and I called her BB, because she was like a mother to me. I was over her house about almost as much as I was at home. And when I was a little child, I used to play with paper dolls. And so I went over there, and one day, and I was telling BB, I said, this girl wanted to, she lived upstairs over me, she wanted to fight me. I said, so I'm not going to fight her because I'm scared. And I said, so I need to pray for her. I need to pray about it. And BB said, well, you know, fighting is wrong, so you can't fight. And I said, I know. And she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I said, I can't make friends with her because she wants to fight me. And so the next day, she had broken her arm. And the next day or two, I don't know how close it was, but anyway, she had taken her, or the doctor had taken her arm out of the cast that she had on. And I said to BB, I said, wow, I said, her arm is loose now. I said, I guess I'll go there and fight her. I said, yeah, she'll leave me alone. And I was really young. And BB said, well, you know, fighting is wrong. And I said, yeah, but if I fight her and I win, then maybe she'll leave me alone. Because I said, she has me scared to come out of my house sometimes. And we only had one door to go. She was always in the stairwell, going upstairs and coming downstairs. And I was afraid, so I thought, well, maybe if I fight her, she'll leave me alone. But I'm not a fighter. I never was, and I guess I never will be. And Daddy Brown had told BB, he said, there's something about that girl. He called me that girl. He said, there's something about that girl. He said, I'm going to go to church. She's always inviting me to come to church, because I would say, Daddy Brown, you need to come to church. He said, I'm going to go to church. But when he heard me say that, I didn't know he was listening. He heard me say that. He said to me, he said, you know what? I thought it was something to that child. I thought it was something to you all's religion. He said, but there ain't nothing to it. And he never did come. He never came to church. And to this day, every time I think about it, I think, Lord, please forgive me, because his life might have been lost. His soul might have been lost because of what I said. And what I didn't fight the girl, but, I wanted to fight her to make her leave me alone. Maybe I could have won with her arm, But, being a child, you just, she was a bully. And, but I think about it all the time, and I pray that God, has forgiven me for doing that, because that's been on my mind a lot, all my life. And then he died a long time ago. This man did. But I always thought maybe he would have been saved. You know, maybe he would have given his life to God when he saw something in me. But then when I turned and said I was going to fight this girl, then he lost all faith in our church. He lost all faith and confidence in me as a Christian. So we have to be careful, saints, how we treat people, how we, what we talk, what we say. Somebody might be listening, and we have to be careful. But God is our refuge and strength. And all we have to do is give things over to God. No matter what, we have to give things over to God. In all my life, I have had to give things over to God because I can't render to God what is God's. I owe him my life. I owe him my loyalty. I owe God everything. And I can't give it to him if I have something in my heart against somebody. And so if we have anything in our hearts against anyone, we need to repent. We need to go to the person if it's possible and tell them, I'm sorry. We need to tell people that we know, I love you. We need to show love, and we need to tell people that we love them. And we need to do all that we can to advance the kingdom of God. Because they only see us. They don't see God, but they see the Lord, the Spirit of God in us, the love of God in us when we treat them with love and kindness. And we need to show more mercy. We need to show more that we're concerned about people, even those that are not saved, especially those that are not saved. And I don't know why the Lord took me this way, but God did. And that's about all I'm going to say today. That God loves us.